Question 1. A project manager is leading an Agile project where the team is frequently experiencing scope creep due to evolving customer needs. Which of the following approaches is most effective for managing these changes in an Agile environment? A. Establish a strict change control board and process to approve all changes formally. B. Continuously engage with the customer to prioritize and refine the backlog, embracing change throughout the project. C. Document all requirements upfront in a comprehensive scope statement and avoid any deviations. D. Implement a phased approach, freezing scope after each phase is completed and approved. Answer: B. Continuously engage with the customer to prioritize and refine the backlog, embracing change throughout the project. In an Agile environment, responding to change over following a strict plan is a core principle. The most effective way to manage evolving customer needs is through continuous engagement and backlog refinement, which allows the team to adapt and prioritize new requirements as they emerge, ensuring the product remains valuable. This iterative process of collaborating with the customer enables the project to deliver maximum business value by embracing necessary changes. A key takeaway is that Agile methodologies are designed to be flexible and welcome changes, even late in development, to deliver the most relevant solution. Question 2. During the execution of a new software development project, the project manager notices that the team's velocity has been consistently lower than predicted for the past 3 sprints. The team members are highly skilled and committed. What should the project manager investigate first? A. Re-estimate the remaining work based on the new, lower velocity. B. Analyze potential impediments or blockers that are hindering the team's progress. C. Demand that the team work overtime to meet the original velocity targets. D. Inform stakeholders that the project will be delayed due to reduced team performance. Answer: B. Analyze potential impediments or blockers that are hindering the team's progress. When a team's velocity consistently drops, it often indicates underlying issues or impediments rather than a sudden decrease in skill or commitment. A project manager's primary responsibility in such a situation is to investigate and identify any obstacles, such as technical debt, unresolved dependencies, or external distractions, that are hindering the team's ability to perform. Addressing these blockers promptly is crucial for improving team performance and getting the project back on track. Remember, a project manager's role is often to remove impediments and facilitate the team's success. Question 3. A project manager is conducting a qualitative risk analysis for a new project. The team identifies a potential risk. Key team member resigns mid-project. They assess the probability of this risk as high and its impact as high. What is the next logical step for the project manager to take regarding this specific risk? A. Immediately develop a detailed contingency plan for the risk. B. Add the risk to the risk register with its qualitative assessment and prioritize it for further response planning. C. Transfer the risk to an external insurance company. D. Ignore the risk, as it's an internal personnel matter. Answer: B. Add the risk to the risk register with its qualitative assessment and prioritize it for further response planning. Qualitative risk analysis involves assessing the probability and impact of identified risks to prioritize them for further analysis or response. After assessing a risk as high probability and high impact, the next logical step is to formally document it in the risk register with this assessment. Question 4. A project manager is leading a global project and needs to ensure effective communication across diverse cultural backgrounds and time zones. Which communication management approach is most suitable to address these challenges? A. Rely primarily on informal, ad hoc meetings to resolve issues quickly. B. Standardize all communication to formal written reports to minimize misinterpretation. C. Develop a comprehensive communication plan that includes communication channels, frequencies, and cultural considerations. D. Delegate all communication responsibilities to the individual team leads in each region. Answer: C. Develop a comprehensive communication plan that includes communication channels, frequencies, and cultural considerations. Effective communication is critical for project success, especially in global projects with diverse teams. A comprehensive communication plan is the most suitable approach as it systematically addresses who needs what information, when, how it will be delivered, and considers cultural nuances to prevent misunderstandings. This proactive planning helps ensure that all stakeholders receive timely and relevant information through appropriate channels, fostering collaboration and mitigating communication barriers. A well-thought-out communication plan is your roadmap to keeping everyone informed and aligned. Question 5. In a traditional project management environment, when should the project manager formally close out a project or phase? A. When all the deliverables have been handed over to the customer. B. When the project objectives have been met and the customer has formally accepted the final deliverables. C. When the project team has disbanded and moved on to new assignments. D. When all invoices have been paid and contracts with external vendors are terminated. Answer: B. When the project objectives have been met and the customer has formally accepted the final deliverables. Project closure is a formal process that occurs when all project objectives are achieved or the project is otherwise terminated, and the customer or sponsor formally accepts the final deliverables. This formal acceptance is crucial as it signifies that the project's purpose has been fulfilled and its outputs are deemed satisfactory. Project closure ensures all administrative, contractual, and financial aspects are completed, and lessons learned are documented for future projects. Remember that formal acceptance is the key indicator that the project's primary work is complete and its goals have been realized. Question 6. A project manager is dealing with a highly complex project that has many interdependencies and a high degree of uncertainty regarding technical solutions. Which life cycle approach would be most appropriate for this project? A. Predictive, waterfall. B. Iterative. C. Hybrid. D. Adaptive, agile. Answer: D. Adaptive, agile. For projects with high complexity, significant uncertainty, and evolving requirements, an adaptive, agile life cycle is most appropriate. This approach allows for frequent inspection and adaptation, breaking down the work into small, manageable iterations. By delivering value incrementally and regularly incorporating feedback, the project can adjust to changing requirements and technical challenges, reducing overall risk and ensuring the final product meets evolving needs. Think of adaptive approaches as learning as you go, which is ideal when you don't have all the answers up front. Question 7. The project team has identified several risks, one of which is a critical piece of equipment failing, potentially causing a 2-week delay. The team decides to purchase a backup piece of equipment and store it on site. Which risk response strategy is being employed here? A. Avoid. B. Mitigate. C. Transfer. D. Accept. Answer: B. Mitigate. The risk response strategy of mitigation involves taking action to reduce the probability or impact of a risk event. In this scenario, purchasing a backup piece of equipment and storing it on-site directly reduces the potential impact of equipment failure, as the delay caused by such an event can be significantly minimized. This proactive step lessens the severity of the risk should it occur. Mitigating risks is about taking steps to make them less likely to happen or less damaging if they do. Question 8. A project team is experiencing frequent conflicts between two key members regarding technical approaches. The project manager understands both perspectives and suggests a solution that incorporates elements from both, leading to a mutually beneficial outcome. Which conflict resolution technique is the project manager using? A. Forcing. B. Compromising. C. Collaborating. D. Smoothing. Answer: C. Collaborating. Collaborating, also known as problem solving, is a conflict resolution technique where the project manager and the conflicting parties work together to find a solution that fully satisfies all parties' concerns. This involves open dialogue, understanding different viewpoints, and creating a new, mutually beneficial solution that integrates insights from everyone. It's considered the best technique for building consensus and commitment, leading to a win-win outcome. When you hear mutually beneficial and incorporates elements from both, think collaboration, as it aims for the best possible outcome for everyone involved. Question 9. A project manager is reviewing the project charter for a new initiative. Which of the following elements is typically included in a project charter? A. Detailed Work Breakdown Structure, WBS. B. Project Budget and Schedule Baseline. C. High-level project description and purpose. D. Individual team member assignments and responsibilities. Answer: C. High-level project description and purpose. The project charter is a formal document that officially authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. It includes high-level information such as the project's purpose, measurable objectives, success criteria, and key stakeholders. It does not typically contain detailed planning elements like a WBS or specific budget baselines, which are developed later in the planning process. The project charter is essentially the birth certificate of your project, providing its fundamental authorization and direction. Question 10. A project manager is leading a project where the client is consistently requesting changes that are outside the agreed-upon scope but are critical for their business success. The project is already behind schedule. What should the project manager do first? A. Reject all changes to protect the current schedule and scope. B. Implement the changes immediately to satisfy the client and ensure business success. C. Analyze the impact of the requested changes on scope, schedule, cost, and quality, and then discuss with the client. D. Ask the team to work overtime to accommodate the new requests without affecting the baseline. Answer: C. Analyze the impact of the requested changes on scope, schedule, cost, and quality, and then discuss with the client. When confronted with scope changes, especially those critical to the client but impacting current baselines, the project manager's first step should be to analyze the potential impact. This involves assessing how the requested changes would affect the project's scope, schedule, cost, resources, and quality. After a thorough impact analysis, the project manager should present the findings to the client, explaining the implications and potential trade-offs to facilitate an informed decision. This structured approach ensures transparency and allows for proper change management. Question 11. During a project's execution phase, the project manager discovers that a crucial resource, a specialized technician, is no longer available due to internal company restructuring. This will significantly impact the project's schedule. What is the most appropriate action for the project manager to take? A. Reassign the technician's tasks to less experienced team members. B. Immediately escalate the issue to senior management for a solution. C. Update the resource management plan and identify alternative options, such as training an existing team member or acquiring a new resource. D. Inform the client that the project will be delayed due to internal issues. Answer: C. Update the resource management plan and identify alternative options, such as training an existing team member or acquiring a new resource. When a critical resource becomes unavailable, the project manager should proactively update the resource management plan to address the new situation. This involves exploring and evaluating alternative solutions, such as cross-training an existing team member, recruiting a new specialist, or engaging a contractor. Only after thoroughly exploring these options and their potential impacts should escalation occur if no viable internal solution is found. This proactive problem-solving demonstrates effective resource management and helps keep the project on track. Question 12. A project manager is working on a long-term infrastructure project. To ensure the project's deliverables consistently meet specified requirements and stakeholder expectations, which quality management activity is most critical throughout the project lifecycle? A. Performing regular quality audits and inspections. B. Focusing solely on final product testing before delivery. C. Delegating quality assurance to an external third party. D. Relying on the project team's self-assessment for quality. Answer: A. Performing regular quality audits and inspections. To ensure deliverables consistently meet requirements throughout a long-term project, performing regular quality audits and inspections is most critical. Quality audits systematically review project activities and processes to determine if they comply with organizational and project policies, processes, and procedures. Inspections, on the other hand, verify that deliverables meet specified requirements. These activities are proactive measures that help identify and correct deviations early, ensuring continuous quality improvement rather than just detecting defects at the end. Regularly checking your work is key to delivering a quality product. Question 13. In an Agile project, what is the primary purpose of the daily stand-up meeting, daily scrum? A. To report progress to the project manager and stakeholders. B. To discuss and resolve all technical issues and design challenges. C. For the development team to synchronize activities, share progress, and identify impediments. D. To replan the entire sprint based on new information. Answer: C. For the development team to synchronize activities, share progress, and identify impediments. The primary purpose of the daily stand-up, or daily scrum, is for the development team to synchronize their activities, share their progress on sprint goals, and identify any impediments or blockers they are facing. It is a brief, time-boxed meeting, typically 15 minutes, where each team member answers 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? Are there any impediments? This self-organizing approach promotes transparency and rapid problem identification within the team. The daily stand-up is about the team helping itself stay on track, not a status report for management. Question 14. A project manager discovers that the project's actual completion date is estimated to be significantly later than the planned completion date. This project is operating under a fixed-price contract. Which of the following is the most likely financial implication for the performing organization? A. Increased profit margin for the performing organization. B. Reduced risk exposure for the performing organization. C. Potential cost overruns and reduced profit margin for the performing organization. D. No financial impact, as the price is fixed. Answer: C. Potential cost overruns and reduced profit margin for the performing organization. In a fixed-price contract, the performing organization agrees to complete the project for a predetermined sum, regardless of the actual costs incurred. If a project runs significantly late, it typically means more time, resources, and effort are being expended than originally planned, leading to higher actual costs. Since the revenue is fixed, these increased costs directly reduce the performing organization's profit margin and can even result in financial losses. A fixed-price contract transfers the risk of cost overruns to the seller. Question 15. The project manager is using a control chart to monitor the consistency of a manufacturing process. The latest data point falls outside the upper control limit. What does this indicate? A. The process is stable and operating within expected variations. B. The process is under control and requires no intervention. C. The process is out of control and requires immediate investigation and corrective action. D. The process is improving and becoming more efficient. Answer: C. The process is out of control and requires immediate investigation and corrective action. A control chart is a statistical tool used to monitor a process over time to determine if it is stable and predictable. When a data point falls outside the upper or lower control limits, it indicates that the process is out of statistical control. This means there is a special cause variation at play, not just random fluctuation, and the process requires immediate investigation and corrective action to identify and eliminate the root cause of the deviation. Seeing a point outside the limits is a clear signal that something is wrong and needs attention. Question 16. A project manager is starting a new project and needs to identify all individuals and organizations affected by the project or who can influence its outcome. What is this process called? A. Perform integrated change control. B. Plan stakeholder engagement. C. Identify stakeholders. D. Control stakeholder engagement. Answer: C. Identify stakeholders. The process of identify stakeholders involves systematically identifying all individuals and organizations that may be affected by or impact the project, and documenting relevant information regarding their interests, involvement, interdependencies, influence, and potential impact on project success. This is a crucial early step in project management to ensure all relevant parties are known and can be properly engaged throughout the project lifecycle. Knowing your stakeholders from the start is fundamental to successful project engagement. Question 17. The project manager is facilitating a retrospective meeting for an Agile team. Which of the following is the primary goal of this meeting? A. To prioritize the backlog for the next sprint. B. To demonstrate the completed increment to stakeholders. C. To inspect the past sprint and identify ways to improve the process for the next sprint. D. To assign tasks for the next sprint and estimate their effort. Answer: C. To inspect the past sprint and identify ways to improve the process for the next sprint. The primary goal of a retrospective meeting in Agile is to allow the team to inspect its performance during the just completed sprint and identify process improvements for the next sprint. It's a continuous learning opportunity where the team reflects on what went well, what could be improved, and what actions to take. This emphasis on continuous improvement helps the team become more efficient and effective over time. Retrospectives are your team's chance to learn and get better for the future. Question 18. A project manager is leading a project that involves implementing a new, unproven technology. This introduces significant technical uncertainty. According to PMBOK's 7th edition performance domains, which domain will be most impacted by this situation? A. Planning performance domain. B. Project work performance domain. C. Uncertainty performance domain. D. Development approach and life cycle performance domain. Answer: C. Uncertainty performance domain. The PMBOK 7th edition introduces 8 project performance domains, one of which is the uncertainty performance domain. This domain specifically addresses risks, opportunities, and overall project uncertainty. When dealing with new, unproven technology, the inherent technical uncertainty directly falls under this domain, requiring careful management of risks and exploration of opportunities. Managing uncertainty is about being proactive in dealing with unknowns and potential disruptions. Question 19. A project manager is calculating the earliest a project can finish. Activities A, B, and C are predecessors to Activity D. Activity A finishes on day 5, Activity B on day 7, and Activity C on day 9. All activities have a finish to start, FS, relationship with Activity D. What is the earliest start date for Activity D? A. Day 5. B. Day 7. C. Day 9. D. Day 10. Answer: D. Day 10. When multiple activities are predecessors to a subsequent activity with finish-to-start relationships, the successor activity can only begin once all its predecessors are completed. Therefore, Activity D can only start after the latest of its preceding activities finishes. Since Activity C finishes on day 9, Activity D can start on the day immediately following its completion, which is day 10. To find the earliest start of an activity with multiple FS predecessors, always pick the latest finish date of its predecessors and add 1 day. Question 20. A project manager needs to assess the value of a project relative to its cost. Which of the following financial metrics is most appropriate for evaluating a project's long-term profitability? A. Payback period. B. Net present value, NPV. C. Internal rate of return, IRR. D. Return on investment, ROI. Answer, B. Net present value, NPV. Net present value, NPV, is considered one of the most appropriate financial metrics for evaluating a project's long-term profitability because it considers the time value of money. NPV discounts future cash inflows and outflows to their present-day value, providing a clear indication of a project's worth in today's dollars. A positive NPV indicates that the project is expected to be profitable after accounting for the cost of capital. NPV is powerful because it brings future money back to today's value, allowing for a true comparison of investment options. Question 21. A project manager is leading a large, complex organizational change project. Several key stakeholders are resistant to the change, fearing job loss and loss of control. What is the most effective approach for the project manager to manage this resistance? A. Ignore their concerns and push forward with the project timeline. B. Formally discipline resistant stakeholders for non-compliance. C. Engage with resistant stakeholders early and openly, understanding their concerns and involving them in solutions. D. Provide minimal information to resistant stakeholders to avoid panic. Answer, C. Engage with resistant stakeholders early and openly, understanding their concerns and involving them in solutions. The most effective approach to managing stakeholder resistance, especially when driven by fear or uncertainty, is open and early engagement. By understanding their concerns, providing clear communication, and involving them in the problem-solving process, a project manager can often alleviate fears, build trust, and turn resistors into advocates. Ignoring or punishing resistance only intensifies it, while early collaboration fosters buy-in and makes change smoother. Engaging with resistant stakeholders shows empathy and allows for solutions that address their needs. Question 22. A project manager is developing the project schedule. Which tool or technique graphically represents the logical relationships of project activities using nodes and arrows, showing their sequence and dependencies? A. Gantt chart. B. Histogram. C. Network diagram, precedence diagramming method. D. Affinity diagram. Answer, C. Network diagram, precedence diagramming method. A network diagram, specifically using the precedence diagramming method, PDM, is a graphical representation of the logical relationships, dependencies, among project activities. Activities are typically represented as nodes, and arrows represent the sequence and type of dependency between them. This tool is fundamental for scheduling as it helps identify the critical path, determine activity sequences, and understand the overall flow of work. Think of a network diagram as a map showing you how all your project tasks are connected and in what order. Question 23. A project manager needs to ensure that purchased goods and services for the project meet the required quality standards and are delivered on time. Which project management process group includes activities related to managing seller performance? A. Planning process group. B. Executing process group. C. Monitoring and controlling process group. D. Closing process group. Answer, C. Monitoring and controlling process group. Managing seller performance, which involves activities like ensuring contract compliance, managing relationships, and verifying that goods and services meet specifications and are delivered as agreed, falls under the monitoring and controlling process group. This group is responsible for tracking, reviewing, and regulating the progress and performance of the project, identifying any areas in which changes to the plan are required, and initiating the corresponding changes. It's where you actively oversee and manage how your vendors are performing against their agreements. Question 24. Which of the following best describes the core tenet of servant leadership in an agile context? A. The leader makes all decisions and directs the team's work. B. The leader primarily focuses on reporting progress to senior management. C. The leader serves the team by removing impediments and empowering them to self-organize and deliver value. D. The leader ensures strict adherence to the project schedule and budget above all else. Answer: C. The leader serves the team by removing impediments and empowering them to self-organize and deliver value. Servant leadership is a leadership style where the leader's primary focus is on serving the needs of the team members, empowering them, and fostering their growth. In an agile context, this means the leader actively works to remove impediments, coaches the team, facilitates collaboration, and creates an environment where the team can self-organize to deliver value effectively. It's about leading by serving, rather than leading by directing. A true servant leader supports the team's ability to succeed, rather than dictating how they should do it. Question 25. A project manager is conducting a lessons learned session at the end of a project. What is the primary purpose of this activity? A. To assign blame for project failures. B. To justify budget overruns to stakeholders. C. To document successes, challenges, and recommendations for future projects. D. To formally close out contracts with vendors. Answer: C. To document successes, challenges, and recommendations for future projects. The primary purpose of a lessons learned session is to capture knowledge gained during the project life cycle, including successes, challenges, and any recommendations for improving future projects. This documented information becomes part of the organizational process assets, serving as a valuable resource for continuous improvement and avoiding pitfalls in subsequent projects. Lessons learned are crucial for organizational learning and ensuring that insights from one project benefit others.